Cancers, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for October 17th to the 23rd of 2016. I'm Athen, and this channel is about using the actual constellations in the sky, known as Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below for more information. All right, Cancer, so this week we have a couple things going on. They're quite important, in fact, but let's go ahead and look at first the fact that we are in the third quarter phase of the lunar cycle because, of course, your sign follows the moon. So this is the third quarter. This is the time where we can be challenging ourselves, and I think it's a great week to do that, to take some steps towards what may have come to our awareness last week, and we had that full moon. So last week, that was the illuminating time, and now it's a great week to be putting those things forward. So with that being said, these aspects we have is Mars conjoining up to Pluto, which is collectively the most significant. We've also got Uranus opposing up to Mercury, or Mercury opposing up to Uranus, and Venus going into Scorpio, which is your fifth house. So let's go and look at this first by Mars. This is going to go exact on Wednesday, this conjunction, and this is going to be in your sixth house of routine and work. And so what this essentially means is that maybe over the past couple weeks you've been a bit more motivated, or there's been this need for you to cultivate your work or your routine, your diet, your regimens, things like this. And this has already been a very important area for you because Pluto has been helping you make changes here over the past many years. And now it's a week to do just that, to make some changes when it comes to your routine, when it comes to your habits, when it comes to the things you can do to personally improve, and also with your work as well. Okay, so the key with Pluto is that Pluto does bring up to the forefront a lot of where we have fears, where we have attachments, in other words, where we're holding on too tight. And especially with Mars, because Mars represents the sort of ego and our desires here. So the more open you are to change, the more open you are to breaking old patterns here, again, whether it's through the work, whether it's through the habits or whatnot, breaking those patterns and being open to that really is the key, and a willingness to dive deep to see if there are any fears that might be preventing you from making these changes. So it's a great week for that. Any new beginnings, anything that you're transforming, letting go. There's also, with Pluto, there's this past and future orientation with it. It's about making change, letting go of the past to make way for the new, here involving this area. Now, Mars does also rule your fifth house, so there could be some transformations with your self-expression. I think it's a good first half of the week to see where you can make changes with that. All right, same concept, but with self-expression, and also too with your career. All right, Mars does rule your 10th house of career, so there could be some changes here happening for a lot of you. Now, this is, significant in that it happens once every 2.5 years, just to put this into context. All right, this conjunction. And it could be a new beginning with these areas there. Again, though, so it's more about the change, letting go of the old to make way for the new. All right, so very significant there. This Mercury opposing up to Uranus does suggest the importance of balance with what has been, I think, a very mental time for you, or at least it's been a great time to use your mental capacity, whether it's through learning, communicating, sharing ideas, writing, and maybe for others, trade, exchanging, however that might be for you personally. So there's a lot of positive energy. This is all part of the lunar cycle. You've got Jupiter here and Mercury, of course. So there's a lot to think about. Mercury is actually exalted in this area. But this opposition is suggesting that over the past 7 or 8 years, there has been this importance of freedom when it comes to expanding your horizons, right? To break free, to expand your horizons, to tap into your adventurous side. And opposite the third house, this is about seeing possibilities. Where the third house is very mental, it's very in your immediate environment. It's the things right in front of you and your community and things like this. This ninth house is more about adventure, the expansion, the possibilities, right? So if the third house is the practical, the ninth house is the potentials, all right? The right side of the brain and the left side of the brain. So it's very important to have this balance this week. If you are feeling like breaking through, breaking free, I think there's something to listen to about that, but to see how you can incorporate it without going to any extremes of just that, because we don't want to just go into the ninth house of just the adventurousness, just the possibilities, and unground ourselves from the reality of things, the rational, practical, everyday reality. and vice versa. We don't want to get too caught up in just the mental immediate stuff and not see those potentials and not see that freedom. Okay, so I think if you're open to that, I think it can be very liberating. Again, maybe there are some changes here, some new things you could be learning, etc. But balance is the name of the game. All right, and then Venus will be going into your 5th house. So yeah, there's definitely changes happening with your self-expression. Self-expression could be anything from creative to playfulness, having fun, romance, spending time with your children, for those of you who have children in your life, but anything that is about essentially creating or getting in contact with your creations. And it could be projects and small business for some of you. In fact, this has been a very serious area over the past year because you've had Saturn in the 5th. So it is good to still take this stuff seriously and to see how you can build this self-expression, build these interests of yours, these passions of yours for the long term. And I think as you approach that, no matter what, I think that's healthy, approaching it in that way with patience. But Venus coming in here can lift it up a bit. I think you can find it quite enjoyable to express yourself, to connect to those things you enjoy in life that are close to the heart. And yeah, for the next few weeks, there could be some enjoyments there, some attraction, some things you could cultivate with that area. And as Saturn does get closer to, or as Venus gets closer to Saturn, there is this importance of, again, patience and persistence with these things in the mix. All right, so Cancers, that's the week in a nutshell. 3rd quarter phase, a good week to take some actions or to take some steps. Sometimes it's inaction, it just depends. But to take some steps, I think a lot of what came to you last week about the adventurousness, about the importance of open-mindedness and the life path or whatever that insight was, I think it's a great week to implement that. Move that stuff forward. Make changes there, maybe with the health, the diet, the daily stuff, maybe at work, right? Non-attachment really is the name of the game with that. And again, keeping everything nice and balanced with what is still these new beginnings with your learning, with open-mindedness, and that practical everyday stuff. All right, Cancer, so have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.